Welcome to the ABC talk show. And today, our points of discussions are very much peculiar and to some extent something different indeed. Because today we will talk to such a personalities there from the defense services of Bangladesh. And once upon a time, they hold a very important portfolio there. And today we have invited them to know what they feel about Bangladesh and what are the experiences they have gathered by this time. And to suit the very purposes, we have invited former Air Vice Marshal A.Z. Mahmood. He was the Chief of Bangladesh Air Force, and he was also Deputy Chief Marshal Administrator with Abu Sadat Muhammad Saeb, and later Ziaur Rahman, Major General Ziaur Rahman, Chief Marshal Administrator. And he was also Minister during the Ershad administration. And now he is passing days in his own ways. Mr. A.Z. Mahmood, how are you?
Alhamdulillah, I'm fine.
Then retired Lieutenant General Amidul Karim. He is not only a name, he is an academic speaker. At the same time, researcher, and lot of books he has written by this time. And if I say what he is what he is. Did not to introduce him anymore. Then I have ASMA, ASMA Awal. He's a retired Rear Admiral and former ambassador of Bangladesh to Maldives. He's a political analyst and he all the time he is busy with his own works, especially he likes talk show. Well, Mr. Rear Admiral Awal, how are you?
Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum.
And we will start from A.Z. Mahmood. Mr. A.Z. Mahmood, you are
Yes,
having so many tips on head. And especially, we are very much interested to know from you that in 1977, there was a Japanese airlines hijacked, Red Army hijacked the airlines, Japanese flight number 472, and landed at Dhaka Airport. Then you are the chief of Air Force, Bangladesh Air Force. And you negotiated with them and handled the matter very successfully. And Japanese, still the day, are very much grateful to you. But it is very, very interesting to know that they have awarded you after 3 decades. What are the reasons of their remaining silence for a long time? Mr. A.G. Mahmood, please let us know all these things.
which one? The first is the why they remain silent, or the story of the hijack. Which one
We
you
like
want?
about your heroic negotiation regarding Japanese Red Army hijacked the airlines.
It was 28th of September 1977.
Speak loudly, please. Speak loudly.
It was 28th of September 1977 that I was in a cabinet meeting. Well, I received a small little note that an aircraft circling overhead this Gao airport wanted to land, and this aircraft is hijacked by Japanese Red Army. So I showed it to the then President Ziaur Rahman, And he told me to go immediately and see what can be done about it. So rushed to the airport, told the hijackers that they should find another place because we will not be able to provide the support
Waktu teh
they
sempat
can expect us.
kan.
But they insisted on landing, and if an aircraft is in danger, we cannot legally stop their landing by blocking the runway. So I allowed them to land. After landing, they kept quiet for a long time, and then they came out and said that they put up the demands, and the demand was 9 of the compatriots in jail in Japan should be released, and about $7 million in cash should be given to them for the release of the passengers. So with this message and whatever my assessment was, I went back to the cabinet and reported the matter to them. So hearing all this, it was decided that we must we must solve the problem peacefully. That means no military intervention, and therefore I was given the responsibility to handle it. Japan is a long way off from here. It takes time. So the problem was time was against us. And the hijackers were very restless. They want a quick solution and quick meeting of the demand. And my problem was how to keep them cool and have control over them and give the Japanese government, which is a democratic government, enough time to discuss and come to a conclusion. But one thing I understood, let us say that why I was there myself. The Director General of Civil Aviation was away, so the Secretary Aviation, and I did not have a deputy, and myself was Deputy Master Administrator, so I could not delegate the cabinet responsibility that was given to me to another person. So I realized that this is a national crisis because anything then other than the peaceful solution would mean violence, and violence at that time would have meant could be fall of the government, chaos and confusion, and many other things. So I realized this is a national crisis, and I must live up to it. So thus began my journey of 5 days of negotiation with these people. Then I applied many. I gave them maximum time to Japanese government, and ultimately they agreed and they sent a minister with seven, I think seven prisoners. Two of them did not want to come, and 6 lakhs, 600,000 tons, $600,000 in $100 bill. So the transfer was also very tricky, and so I had to make sure that the passengers, the crew, all are safe. And then I give the money, but they would not do that. So I decided that okay, we'll give you 100,000 and give me about 15 or 20 passengers release. For every swap, there was, ultimately they did not release all the passengers. Here was very interesting thing happened. I found out that one of the men from Japan who was released was a very important man in the party. His name was, I remember, Okudara. So I asked my officer to bring Okudara in my office down in the airport, a very special office, and I talked to him. because now I want to plant him as my agent. So what I did was to tell him that, look, you are now free, but ultimate freedom will be only when you take off. But the aircraft cannot take off unless I give you fuel, oxygen, and water. So you have to make sure when you go into the cockpit in the aircraft, convince your compatriots that they must release all passengers. Now, this was the condition the Japanese government had put in. So he said that he did not know them, but however he'll try. Ultimately, they took they agreed to release all passengers except 28. Ultimately, they took 28 passengers, and of course, they told me one reason that they say that at one time I volunteered that I will come along with you and give you the guarantee. So they said it is not enough because there are countries who have shot down their own aircraft, own people. So this is no guarantee. However, we had no choice, and then they took off with 28 passengers. They went to Beirut first. From there, they went to Libya, Tripoli, and we had arranged all those things, gave them the maps and everything, whatever it is, and thing ended up on 2nd of October, 1977. But one thing, sadly, now that you remind me of that day, that this incident had profoundly affected my life, my family's life, and my career, and many things. I never knew that I was walking into such a situation that I'll be the real loser in the whole business. The others will be, they all are living, they got the money, they got all that, except that uh, I had the maximum problem because it is difficult to recreate a situation like this. Well, if you have any other question, I'm ready to give answer.
Yes, thank you very much. I have a very simple question again to you. Because so far I understand that you have been honored with the Japanese
Oh, yes,
Imperial
yes.
Award
Why did
laureate.
they take for
Yeah,
40 years?
that's
They took 40 years.
of
Now
the
the
Rising
problem
Star.
was, yes, the problem was
But
that,
they took time to give you the award. What are the
yes,
reasons?
yes, they did. But the problem was that they found that I resigned within 1 month of the incident. And then I had nothing to do with the government. Now the Japanese government deals with government. So they always want to make sure they're on the right side of the government. Though they appreciated me, they invited me, they showed Japan, and but the honor and other things they kept away from me. Now another point could be that they did not believe that how could a man from Bangladesh could keep these 5, 6 uh, violent Red Army people in, in, in such a situation and got 5 days that he could control them. So some of my transmissions was to win them over. Now those are palliative kind of transmission, not always aggressive. Yes, I was aggressive sometimes, but sometimes palliative, sometimes conciliatory. But they were not sure that how this happened. So they took 40 years almost to catch all those people. All of them were caught, and they want to find out if I had any connection with that situation. See? So when they were sure that no, there is nothing like that, then they recommended, the Prime Minister wrote me a letter, appreciating. After 40 years, the Japanese are very patient people, and they kept on interviewing me, kept coming me. I never realized why they were asking me so many questions, so many times they want to say. But then at the end, I realized that this is their. As a matter of fact, many people wondered, including my government. Can you see me?
Yes.
Including our government. then how is it possible for a man to control them only on radio, only by talk? You see, and they obeyed every order that I gave. I said, open the door now, they would open. Close the door now, they would close. Here's your food, open the door, take it. Open the door, here's your passenger. Release. Every word I said, they obeyed. Now, this is what, as a matter of fact, I may add a little bit more. An American ambassador at one time named Jane Kuhn, a lady. In 1982, I was Minister also food at that time. She had to work with me. One day she asked me that were you ever trained on aircraft hijacking and recovery? So I said, no, I only know how to fly and bring it back. But I never thought of hijacking myself, nor have I dealt with anything. She said, how did you manage those people? So before I answered, I said, how do you know about this incident? She said that she was in the State Department at that time, and a cell was created to oversee the situation. Because one of the passengers was a congressman and another was a friend of President Jimmy Carter. So I did not know that so many big people were involved. Jimmy Carter was personally watching what is happening. So this lady said that she knew me beforehand. So I said, how did you know me? She said, this is how you knew. So anyway, so this has given me the confidence also that I can understand a crisis, analyze the crisis, and also take the appropriate steps to overcome the crisis. This also gave me a lot of confidence because um, such things never happened. I only faced my own crisis in the air. I had many of them where I was about to die. Rather, I think about half a dozen times I was on the verge of death because of my aircraft engine failure and other causes. But anyway, I was very kind, and this time also I escaped death very closely. Very close death I escaped. Okay, I hope I
Thank you
have
very,
said.
thank you very much, A.G. Mahmood. Now I go to retired Lieutenant General Aminul Karim, known as Dr. Professor Dr. Aminul Karim, because you have by this time earned so many degrees, so many qualifications, and you are very well known in the world. One of the most important questions to you that during a very critical moment of the nation from 2007 to 2008 election, you were the military secretary to the then president of Riyazuddin, Professor Riyazuddin. Would you kindly tell us how the peaceful transformation from military backend and government to civilian government took place? Please, your experience, please. Professor
Yeah,
Dr.
thank
Nabil.
you, Mr. Sinha, for giving me this opportunity to talk to you on a very sensitive issue, so to say, because at the fag end of 2006, things were very volatile. Political situation was rather volatile, and I was in commandant of National Defense Service Command and Staff College at Mirpur. It was just about a year. Before that, I was the GOC in 9 Infantry Division at Savar. So I thought I'll be stationed there for some more time. But as Indian government selected me as a military secretary to the president, Mr. Yajuddin Ahmed, Professor Yajuddin Ahmed. I joined Bongo Bhavan, I think, in the month of August. And then things started flaring up, so to say. There was the problem with the health problem with the president. He had to be taken to Singapore for his bypass surgery. He came back, and the government of the then Prime Minister Khaleda Zia had to hand over the power to the caretaker government, and the right person to take over was Justice Hassan, the last retired Chief Justice of Bangladesh. But he was made controversial by the opponent political forces because he had some link with that party, with the ruling party during his student's time. Well, there was a problem, about that serious political turmoil in near that there's National Mosque, Baitul Mokarram, the Awami League and Jamaat and BNP. These people, they fought for quite some time, and there were a lot of casualties, deaths, injuries, and you have heard that the people were dancing on the dead body of a person, and it was live telecast all over the world. So it created a lot of sensation in the life and the politics and the polity of Bangladesh. And the government was about to hand over the power because parliament was dissolved, something I think around in the month of September, October, like that. It was a gap. The parliament was dissolved, all right, but the incumbent government gets 15 days time to hand over the power to the next government. But this was not being done because Justice Sattar ultimately declined to take over as chief advisor because he thought this is going to be controversial. As a gentleman, he said, sorry, I cannot take over. We failed to persuade him to come and take over. We are ready for oath taking at Bangla Bhavan, but he was not willing to come. I personally talked to him many a times. Then I requested him, sir, can you please give it in writing? He did that. He sent his unwillingness certificate to the president. We collected that, and there was a huge problem in the state fight between the political opponents. Very sad political culture of Bangladesh. Then what to do? Then one fine morning, I think it was after the Eidul Adha break. One fine morning, I was hearing a lot of noise. Well, Bangla Bhavan was very close to that part of Dhaka city. The police was probably withdrawn. And when I heard it's all kind of, cocktails and grenades and, even automatics were fired. Then I had to wake up a little early. I asked the ADCs to the president to find out the scene in the Dhaka city in the police network. We have a network of police contacts at Bangla Bhavan. And after some time, they say the life is terrible. It's extremely volatile, very turbulent. Then I said, what is the president doing? President is still is sleeping. So I said, get the president's office open and get the president to the president's office. I'm coming, and call the cabinet secretary. After about an hour or so, president came to the office. I was there. The cabinet secretary was there, Mr. Sulaiman. We were looking for the press secretary. He was not available in any way. The huge problem. A lot of people all roads were blocked around Bangla Bhavan. Nobody could pass. And then the president gave the direction that call two of the secretary generals. One is Mr. Abdul Mannan Bhuiya from BNP and Mr. Jalil from Awami League. I could contact Mr. Jalil right away. And he was in my office within half an hour. He didn't have sleep, I could understand from his face. So I gave him a lot of cups of tea. He was sipping tea and talking to me. And then I was looking for Mannan Bhuiya. He took some more time. He reached after about an hour or so. The moment both of them were there, we are trying to take them to the president and get it telecast as quickly as possible, so that there's a kind of specter of tranquility comes back to the political life of Bangladesh. It was pitch of, you can see it reached to the peak of political turmoil. President was sitting there, and two of the secretary general was there. I was there, and the cabinet secretary was there. We were looking for the press secretary. We could contact him. He failed to come, Mr. Mahabubur Rahman Chaudhary. Then we started talking. And since Justice Hassan was not accepted, so then after some time, President himself said, because there is a provision in the Constitution, if all other steps are failing, the President can take over as chief advisor in addition to his own duties as a last resort. So President proposed, why not I take over as chief advisor? Mr. Jalil, the Awami League Secretary General, he just responded spontaneously. He says, Alhamdulillah, so we'll be very happy if you take over. Very good. We are very happy. But we are very, myself and Cabinet Secretary were looking at each other. What is the wrong? We do not know about President did not discuss this with us before, giving this signal to the politicians. Never mind. That was a political problem. I was only a military secretary. So fine, good enough. And Mr. Joel said, sir, I'll just go back. Let him discuss the matter with the leader, with my leader, means the Sheikh Hasina. And he will be back within an hour. And he had to, discuss this matter with the 14 parties they had, the allies. He went back to Dhanmondi. After about an hour, he called back. And I talked to him. And he said, General Saab, everything is okay, but then you have to follow the steps given in the Constitution. Only then we can accept the President as a last resort. So matter got complicated. I handed over the phone to the President. He informed the President about the development. So we started following the steps in the Constitution. Next one is retired Chief Justice. He was dead. So we looked for the third one, Mahmudul Amin from Sylhet, the third Chief Justice. He was willing to take over, but he asked for some time. I talked to him personally, and he probably discussed with some party. And he came back and he said, yes, if the President desires, I'll take over as chief advisor. But from BNP side, they said they objected to it. Because the Awami League side objected to Mr. Hassan's taking over as chief advisor. So BNP is a normal course. The two-party system in Bangladesh, very unfortunate nation. They said, sorry, we don't also accept him. So then we came to the same step. Next step was the justice in the appellate division. So we got Mr. Habibur Rahman. Habibur Rahman, yeah. He was then DG of the judicial school or something like that. I talked to him. He said, no, I won't take over. Very interesting. I said, sir, can you give it in writing? Yes, he gave it in writing. The next step was to discuss it with all political parties and find out a suitable, acceptable person who can take over as chief advisor. So we wrote to all three important parties at that time. One was BNP, then was Awami League, and then Jamaat Islam. So they were invited next day. They came to President's office one after another. We discussed. I think BNP party was led by Mr. Mahabubur Ahmed. And now we also invited Jatiyo Party. Jatiyo Party was led by Mr. Qazi Jafar Ahmed, and BNP by Mr. Abdul Mannan Bhuiya, and Jamaat Islam, Mr. Kamrujaman, I think Mr. Kamrujaman, they were leading the delegation. We failed to reach a consensus of choosing the most neutral person in the country, in the republic, to take over as chief advisor. So that failed. So you have no other choice but to come to the President. So ultimately, it boiled down to the President, Mr. Yazuddin Ahmed. We sat down and we were making preparations for him to take over and arranging the oath taking. I think on 28th October evening, his oath taking was done. Before that, we had to do a lot of staff work and a lot of hassle. He was a little hesitant at times. Fine. We had no choice, no other choice. So the Chief Justice was there. He had conducted, all diplomats were there. We arranged the diplomats to come because there was a lot of, hartal and, blockade in the city and around Bangla Bhavan. But we managed through the good help of the Air Force, Bangladesh Air Force. They arranged their transportation through a few microbus to Bangla Bhavan. So all ambassadors were there at Bangla Bhavan, and BNP side, the Prime Minister was there. All ministers were there, but from from Awami League, there was nobody. And I think there was somebody from Jamaat Islam and some from Jatiya Party. The oath was done. The next day we started getting the name for the advisors. So president was then combining the roles of the president of the republic as head of the state, as well as chief of the caretaker government as head of the government. So he was wearing two hats. It was too heavy, two hats he was wearing because he was very frail. He just came back from Singapore after bypass. I was very worried about it. Very, very worried. I conveyed this to the Prime Minister, the Prime Minister. Madam, he may not be able to perform. I have my doubts. Oh, he said, just take care of him. The speaker will stand by and Ponchogod or something like that. And I have to keep one helicopter ready for him and inform the DC that if anything goes wrong, he has to fly from Ponchogod to Dhaka within no time. We'll send the helicopter and fetch him to Dhaka at Bangla. Fine. We started working, selecting the advisors. We got the names from all political parties, which was not mentioned in the constitution. It was not mandatory to get the names from the political parties. But somehow, Awami League gave the names, Jatiya Party gave the names, BNP gave the names, Jamaat gave the names, and we started. Myself was the cabinet secretary. At that time, the civil presidential secretary was not appointed. Nobody was there. Mr. Jabiullah came after some time, but at that critical time, the civil secretary was not there at the moment. I was, as military secretary, I had to perform the job of both the civil secretary and myself. And the cabinet secretary was very helpful, I must say. And then we got that selected. In the meantime, it was getting delayed. So in this gap, there was a writ, filed in the High Court division, and the High Court division was about to nullify this. As I heard it later on, so I was a military man, but I had to. Yeah. But we are very fast in selecting the advisors, 10 of them, and they were sworn in, I think by 30th, the 1st of November. They were sworn in, most of them were sworn in, and the government started functioning, because cabinet is not complete unless you have the advisors. Only the chief advisors will not do. So they took the advantage of that gap, and the writ was accepted, and hearing was done. The judgment was started. They started delivering the judgment. In the meantime, the Chief Justice dissolved that bench. So he had no power to further. I don't know what is the result. Well, I can't predict that. I do not know. They were sworn in. This government started running. Fine, good enough. We are very happy. Akbar Ali Khan, stalwarts like Akbar Ali Khan. Then that Shafi Ahmed, the former foreign secretary, Mahabubur Rahman, that editor of the Independent. There was a lot of good people. Sultana Kamal, very renowned people. And then we had that Mr. Finance Secretary. He's in a black university now. Economics. I forget his name. He was the finance advisor. Started working fine. They were having cabinet meetings. They were trying to bring both the parties on course. They were invited. I still remember one fine evening, we invited both the political groups, one led by Awami League and led by Ms. Sheikh Hasina, and the other one by BNP led by Khaleda Zia. And they came one after another. And they gave the condition that we will not cross each other near the Bangla Bhavan. So once the one group is cleared, then the other group will come in. Come on. Bangladeshi politicians have a lot of problems. So we had to accommodate that. We started discussing, the president along with the advisors started discussing the matter. So the political process was on. Fine, good enough, we are very hopeful. But things were getting jumbled up. It got stalled, I would say. Some of the advisors were not very happy with the directives given by the president, direction given by the president. Maybe he was remote control, maybe not. There are many things which I can't say so many things in public at this. It's still premature, probably. And so things are getting stalled. After some time, 4 of the advisors, Mr. Akbar Ali Khan, Sultana Kamal, and former army chief, they 4 of them resigned on fine morning. Yes, he was my army chief. Actually, he was my chief. So what we did in the afternoon, the cabinet decided that we have to get them back. So one of the advisors, Mr. Sen, he was deputed to bring them back. So he took me along. I said, I cannot go. I'm a military man. I'm wearing a uniform. No, you come. You must come. Otherwise, I cannot do it. So I had to, accompany him. We went to all the houses on Gulshan, Bonani, and in Diojus Baridhara, and also in Dhanmondi. By the time we came, we have convinced all of them except the army chief. Sorry, I said he was my boss actually. So he declined. He just declined. No, I'll not go back. By the time we returned to Bangla Bhavan, it was about 1 or 1:30. But in the meantime, I think conspiracies were going on. That Mukhlis, he arranged, by the time another 4 advisors were selected. And by the time we reached to Bangla Bhavan, President said, we have already selected the next advisors. You are very late. You could have contacted us. But we are traveling from Gulshan to Bonani to Baridhara to Dhanmondi, and then talking to them and convincing them and get them back to Bangla Bhavan. And they agreed to come report to Bangla Bhavan by 11 next morning. Very sad story. So next morning, out of 4, 3 of them were sworn in. They are not. The earlier advisors didn't come back because that operation failed. Fine, we are trying to get it on course again. In the meantime, Awami League said Awami League was not willing to come for the nomination submission. Then we started talking. One Mr. Mahabubur Rahman took the lead. Dr. Shoaib was the new advisor, finance advisor, and myself were there in the president's office one evening. We started talking to Awami League at one time, again to BNP, and we are trying to close the gap. They were giving certain conditions. We are trying to satisfy that. Then again going to BNP, closing the gap. By doing this, by about 2 in the morning, not 2, actually 1 in the morning, we struck a deal. Both Awami League and BNP agreed to come for the election. Awami League agreed to come for the election. But BNP put a restriction on us that unless Awami League is given the declaration by before morning, will not accept it. I'm like, what the hell? How can you get the general secretary at this time at 2 p.m. and our cameraman has to travel to Dhanmondi and get his interview? It is difficult. BNP was hard nut to crack. So I talked to a general who was close to Sheikh Hasina, who was a friend of mine. I said, can you help me, my friend? He says, okay, let me try. He then talked to Sheikh Hasina over phone. And then he conveyed to me that you send your cameraman to Mr. Jalil's house, who was then sleeping, having good sleep at his house by around 2 or 2:30 or 3 maybe. And he will give the interview. So we got the interview done, got the record back to Bangla Bhavan and sent it to all TV channels. Mr. Jalil said that we will participate in the election and submit our nomination. So matter was resolved. Apparently, we are very, very happy. We thought we have won the battle. The Makkah has been, conquered. But then once they submitted the nomination papers, then I think there was some problem with the filing of nomination by President Ershad. He was declared not acceptable by some of the DCs. I think there was a conspiracy was there. It's very difficult to find out that the conspiracy. Civil politics is very. We military people, we are not meant for handle this. So conspiracies were going one after another. I could feel it, but I couldn't express it. I would tend to express it to President. I said, I was getting the smell of emergency coming. I briefed the President. Sir, the emergency coming. Are you willing to sign the emergency? He said, what is emergency? Well, sir, this is there in the Constitution. Well, I have no idea about it. He was making fun with me, actually. Later on, I realized he was making fun with me. I realized if after that 4 advisors resigned, I realized that if this government fails, this president is going to fail. These 4 advisors, if advisors don't come back, this cabinet is going to fail and this president is going to fail. That was my hunch, and it proved to be correct, very prophetic. And it was a very bad show on the part of anybody. I don't know why they declared President Assad unfit to run the election by 5 of the DCs, I think, returning officers. Again, things went back, were very dirty. By the time it was, I think it was January, we were failing to make a reconciliation and come to a political process. On 7th January, General Moin visited President's office stealthily. It was not in my knowledge. Again, the conspiracy is coming up. I did not know. The army chief is coming, I did not know. Well, he was coming almost every week. The army was deployed. The first day when Awami League and BNP group came to visit Bangla Bhavan for starting the political dialogue, both Sheikh Hasina and Khaleda Zia came. On that very night, after midnight, President called me to his residence. The ADC called me, the President is calling you. It was almost 2. I
Mr.
just changed my
Karim,
uniform and I went to bed.
you will have another 5 minutes because this is a very important discussion. So
It's a
I
long
would
day.
like to.
I'll finish it.
I would like to give
I'll
you more
finish it.
time. Please go on. It is a part of history.
But I said, yeah, you are right. It's part of history. President called me at that time. It was about 2. And he said, ask the army chief to deploy the army all over the country. I said, what the hell are you talking, sir? Just about an hour or so back, we went back and you discussed this matter with both the groups, political groups. We have started the political process. How can I ask the army chief to deploy the army? Well, no, this is my order. I am the commander in chief. I said, please rethink about it. Please revisit your decision. I would implore on you, please think about it. Then I suggested to him, let's say in the next morning, this morning, you convene a cabinet meeting, get it approved from the cabinet, and then take the decision. And he said that deploy the army means there's a final order for him. In a way, I violated his order, but in the greater interest of the country, I was never interested to get the army on the field. Never. I was totally against army coming in the scene. I was totally averse to that. I was getting the smell. Something is coming. So I said, I will stop it by any means. Next morning, then he bypassed me and called the PSO to AFD and passed the order through him. So I did not take the order. It's okay, never mind. He wanted to then post me out of Bangla Bhavan and send me back to the army. I said, I'm ready to go. He conveyed this to army chief, just take him out from here. Army chief called me. I mean, you are not going well with the president. I said, nothing is wrong with me. Well, the president wants you to take you out. I said, please take me out. I didn't want to come. Before coming here, I represented. I don't want to go to that place at this turbulent political time. And then, but General Moin said, no, you continue. I don't have a replacement for you. Then I realized there's something is. It was good for him because he found a rift between the president and the military secretary, so he can penetrate better. Now I realize that. So things were moving fine, but then it got stalled with no end in sight. On 7th January, General Moin visited President. I say again, still it was not in my knowledge. And then President conveyed to him that please take over the state power from me. Things were all prearranged. He came out of the president's office, and the moment he steps out of the president's office, he enters into my office. And he did not come inside my office, but at the doorstep, he said, I mean, the president has asked me to take over. He was very happy. He was looking very elated, so to say. I said, what the hell? He just went back, and by the time I reached the porch, he was out from the Bangla Bhavan. I came back, I realized, I got the whole story because I was getting signal from the DGFI that emergency is coming. They were sending reports in writing that there's a necessity of emergency for this country. You know how very funny country is this. President used to give me those reports. I was reading that. I was getting. Otherwise, I had a lot of people in army. I was getting the feedback, but I was pretty much opposed to that. I was totally against it. I said, I'll do my best to stop this. The army should not get involved in this matter. Fine. Then I realized. Then I have talked to both the political parties. In the meantime, the nominations paper for the other parties were scrutinized, and 19 of them were declared elected from BNP, and Awami League was out. Since President Shah was declared not declared void in his nomination submission. So again, things went back, and General Moin took advantage of this. Then I informed both BNP and Awami League, something is coming up, cooking up, get ready for the worst situation. Please have a conciliatory approach, start a political dialogue and come to a consensus. Please declare that the election null and void, and we'll hold a fresh schedule for you. In the meantime, Mr. Mahabubur Rahman, who was the advisor, very nice man and a very highly patriotic person. His General Sahab, let's send a mandate to the Supreme Court, we get a mandate from the Supreme Court that we can hold the election after another election after another 3 months. By that clause in the Constitution, which says that by an act of God, you can delay the Supreme Court can authorize delaying the election by another 3 months. So we drafted a sort of report for that for the Supreme Court.
You have 3 minutes.
The President declined.
We have 3 minutes only.
Okay, I'll finish it. And so on 11 January, General Moin came with his team, and General Moin came, followed by the Air Chief and the Naval Chief, and they were taken to the residential office room at the back of the Bangla Bhavan. President was having lunch. They were there. We were all sitting there. President asked me to leave the room. I had to leave the room. It was, after about 1.5 hours, I was called in again, and I was said that the cabinet is dissolved. President will relinquish his job as a chief advisor, and state of emergency declared. You convey to the cabinet ministers were waiting in my room because there was supposed to be a cabinet meeting that afternoon. So that is it. So General Moin took over. We are then looking for a chief advisor. General Masood and Brigadier Mamin went to the Dhaka city around, and they asked me to join them. I said, no, I'll not join them because I'm not party to you. I did not go. They were going to select a chief advisor. Please go ahead. I think at the dead of night, they selected Mr. What was his name? The chief advisor?
Fakhruddin. Mr. Fakhruddin.
Fakhruddin Ahmed. Nobel laureate, he declined. So they selected Fakhruddin Ahmed. Next day, we had done the coronation for him, oath taking. He took over. The president just remained a president, and the government started functioning separately. But in the meantime, I'll just give you one more note. There are so many stories, but I'll just give one more story. We had a meeting at Army headquarters in 2007, sometime in August. All the generals were sitting. We were deciding the fate of the country. He was asking, what should you do with the country? So we had a vote for whether we should continue this process. 2 ladies were then interned in the jail, and we all said, 8 out of 30 generals, 28 of us said, this is not our business, we must come out of this. So that was the end. That was the beginning of the end of General Moin's regime, so to say. Then again he called us in September. He again asked us to give in writing how to run the country. I said, why? The constitution is there. So all the generals submitted their report to the army chief. I did not submit it as yet. I was the only general who didn't submit it, come what may. Then he posted me as ambassador. I declined to go, and anyway, then he took over and it started running. And after some time, I was posted back to National Defense College. There are many other stories. I cannot go all to all the nitty-gritties, but a very sad story, I must say. The country entered into a kind of there are a lot of foreign powers involved. Very sad. Our neighbor was deeply involved. US was deeply involved. Canada was deeply involved. UK was deeply involved. And I think we have lost much of our control of our country, governance of our country. From then on, I think things are remote control. I feel bad for that. As a patriot, I feel bad for that. That's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. That's great. Now I am going to Rear Admiral ASMA, Mr. Awal. Mr. Awal, you are the Chief of Naval, Chief of Naval.
Assistant Chief.
Assistant Chief of Navy.
Okay.
And at the same time, you were appointed as ambassador to Maldives. Now tell us, what is your overall reaction as Assistant Chief of Naval Staff and as an ambassador? Just experience.
Thank you very much. Now, when you were assigned to the foreign ministry, so at that time, it is the practice that you cease your previous functioning in the previous appointment. So I was the Assistant Chief of Naval Staff. So there I was seconded to the Minister of Foreign Affairs, and then went to the Maldives as High Commissioner. So the experience, I would say that it was quite a turbulent time for Maldives, as it's a new democracy. President Nasheed and his party, they were the first to become a political party coming to power through a general election after many decades. And then he was toppled in a sort of coup, police coup, they say. Anyway, there were many conspiracies and upheavals. And then there was another government formed. And this political turmoil, it continued till the end of my tenure. Then finally election was held, and President Yamin, he took over the power. So this was a very turbulent time when I was appointed. The High Commissioner, my main focus was with our expatriates, around 100,000 plus minus. Their number varies depending on the recruitment and also the their exit from the country. So as you know, the remittance, the role it plays, it had been playing throughout our history, and particularly crucially now. So these poor countrymen who go and they remain engaged, what they call is the 3D jobs: the dirty, demeaning, and dangerous. These are categories of jobs where more than 90% of our expatriates, they're employed, and for Maldives it is close to 10%. Now their ordeal, so that really shook me, that how these people they come, because this is a job. This is our system is geared up in such a way, exploitative system, I must say, that you send people, other countries, they send people for a job. It is an expatriate, it is an employee, it goes. It's a job of 1 year, most of the countries. renewable after maybe maximum 2 years. That's the contract like. So you go for a job, spend 1 year, 2 year, or a couple of years, or maybe 4, 5 years, then you come back. But in our case, they migrate for life. They sell their, land, or take a heavy loan from the, acquaintance or the relatives. So it's a big burden with which they go. So there, through that process, they become undocumented. Maybe on the day one, maybe after a couple of months, maybe after their the first 1 year, at various stages, they become undocumented or illegal. And it was a terrible situation, particularly during the SAARC summit. That was the second to the last. After that, there was no summit. I think the Kathmandu had the last one. Before that, the Maldives. So there was a decision in the National Security Council of Maldives that all the leaders are coming during the SAARC summit. So no undocumented or illegal expatriates would be allowed to stay in the summit area. The summit was held in Addu, that's in the southernmost atoll of Maldives. So we are told that this is the situation, and anything talking about migrants or expatriates, that the first hit that comes on Bangladesh, because Bangladesh does have the maximum number of illegal or undocumented migrants. So whatever measure comes, that falls on our expatriates. So it was a large number. There was, I think, around 35 to 40,000 people, and 30,000 was undocumented. And the foreign minister, he was discussing with me that, Excellency, what to do, because there is the decision of the National Security Council with the regional and our intelligence report that there is likely to be some attempt of maybe some of the high profile leaders during the summit. So we have to get them out. So you can understand when 30,000 people have to leave. So 1/3 of the expatriate population. And I was totally lost that how to approach this problem. And I contacted with my head office, the foreign ministry, and naturally what position they can take, because this is a national decision concerning a SAARC summit. And the first thing was that can't you get them out from there? Other nationals, they were taken out. They're in hundreds, few hundreds, so they were taken out from the area. They went back, maybe home, maybe. But how to take out 30,000 people, and they don't have any document? They can't be taken out also. So that was a big reckoning for me, and I tried to understand that how this thing happens. And then that's a long story. I'm not going into that. So ultimately, when I talk to my expatriates that this is the situation, what do you think is the solution? So our Bengali brain, it functions in a multidimensional way, and particularly among our community, expatriate community also, there are a number of people who are involved with this illegal trafficking, trafficking in person, or the illegal employment people. So they suggested me, sir, you don't worry at all. They won't be able to take out us. You rather throw a challenge to them that, okay, I'm ready, send them out. And why they will not be able to do anything? That if we leave, if the Bangladeshi expatriates leave, there will be no SAARC summit, because the convention center which is being built, that is being built by us. We are the workers there, and if we have to leave, then it is still at least 30% job is left, and it's a new convention center, and they can't finish it. So you can take it up. So then I got the footing that yes, I can take on this problem. So I went to the foreign ministry, talked to the foreign minister that okay, let's start moving them out, because you have to give them documents. Most of them don't have a document. I can issue, as per the rule, I can issue the travel pass when they will come to me. But before that, you have a long procedure. That employer has to be called. The employer has to certify that he was absconding from the job, and then there are many formalities. So I again took to those our unscrupulous dalals, our own people, that what is the process? Well, sir, it will take 1 year. If they take seriously the job, it will take 1 year to get one chap to expel from the country, and lastly it will come to you for a travel document. You don't issue the travel document. That's the end of the story. And finally, I gave the job to the foreign minister. Said, this is the thing. Only 1 month is left. This is your decision. We respect your decision. So let's start the extradition process. So where do you want to keep them? Do that. But they have to go in one go. Please make that arrangement. So then they're saying that, okay, it's not a problem, because we are very apprehensive that your government would be objecting it to it. No. How can we object? It's your decision. But you have to make the arrangement, whatever you want to do. And then, I was in constant touch with my community. And then they came up with another thing. They said, sir, what is happening? They are detaining us in a sort of confinement center. And then they're bringing us for the job. And that was the very serious allegation. I said, are you sure that there is a confinement? There is a confinement area where you are kept after your work? They said yes. So I got the more confirmed news, and they're sort of under some not arrested formally, not taken to the jail, but it is a sort of interned center where they are kept. So this is totally against the law. You cannot employ anybody who is under any sort of arrest or internment. So then I took up with the government that I want to visit my expatriates after they finish their work in the convention center, because there is a serious allegation that they are under internment. And then, there was a huge reaction from the government. They got the thing because there was a center, there's a separate center. Because these people are supposed to live on their own. They have their own mess, they have their own thing. And then the thing started rolling, and ultimately the National Security Council has to reverse their decision. But President Nasheed and all of them, they were very friendly to Bangladesh, very, very friendly people, very friendly to me also at that time. So he came up with a very olive branch that for the sake of friendship, and particularly our tribute to my sister, Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, I pardon them all. And they are regularized, no problem. So this is the thing. So through that process, I understood that how this deprivation takes place, how our people are exploited, and thereafter I could do some work so that their job security, their deprivation, that could be addressed. This was one issue, and it is very sad. I'm talking about Maldives, but this could be the same story for other countries, because here there is a syndicate in outside of the country in Bangladesh. They do everything, their ticket and other things. For example, the employer is supposed to give his air ticket and everything when they go. It's for every country, most of the countries. But all our people, those who are going, they pay for their ticket. This is one mystery. And I took up the matter here that what happens. So I came to know, I'm talking about Maldives only, because I'll not replicate it for others, but it could be the same for others. So I said that these people are supposed to be taken free with the employer's money or the ticket given. Why they have to buy a ticket? And end of the day, I gathered that this sorry,
But we have a point to know from you that you uttered the word. There is a police coup by the police. We
Yeah.
know very well that civil coup, military coup, but in Maldives there is a police coup. Please explain it for viewers.
Right. This was what happened is President Nasheed, he was a very popular president, very popular politician, activist. But a smart politician, when you go to the realm of power, General Aminul Karim was describing how the power lobby it works in any of the countries. So it's a different ball game. So there he was not faring well. Whimsical decision, very not foresighted. Like he wanted to have good relationship with Israel. He used to push me that let's put together your prime minister. She is very diplomatically she is very well poised. If we can work together and open up a door to Israel, then we can influence Israel to give better treatment to the Palestinians. Excellency, that's fine, but first you have your experiment, then we'll join you. And our prime minister, she is very sympathetic to the Palestinians, but for your approach, you have to talk to her. I am far away from that circle to talk about. So like that, he wanted to have good relations. He called a medical team from there. That was not taken at all well by the Maldivians. Like that,
Mr. Awal, our main question is there is a police coup in
right,
Maldives.
right. So with that, there were turmoils. There were various turmoils, and during the SARC, I'm coming to that. During the SARC summit, he wanted all the countries, all the 7 countries, to bring a monument which would be placed in the Addu city and various parts of the Addu city as a memorial of the SARC summit. So it was a difficult operation. All the countries, they would say that the time is short and this, that. Anyway, everybody got this monument. We gave our national monument there as a gift for the country. And at that time, there was serious agitation, starting from the Israel issue and other issues, particularly the Islamist parties. They took the lead. So they were telling that, no, all these monuments, it has, these are all with the idols. And interestingly, except for the Bangladesh monument, our national emblem, that all the countries, Pakistan has Gandhara, it is the idol. India has, Sri Lanka, everybody has idol. So there was a sort of revolt with the Islamist revolt, and they came, they smashed all these monuments, the Indian monuments, the Pakistani monuments, and Pakistan High Commission was very upset. You see, we give them so much of support, and they have, they've broken our thing. So that was the situation. Except we are spared. They took, we showed them our emblem, and they were very happy. There's no idol in the so to say. So that
Thank you very
was the brewing up, and then after
Thank
a few days, there was a police and all the police stations. They were, agitating along with the Islamist political parties that this government is not fit to run the country. It is against religion, against our values, and all this thing. So it started like that. The Maldivian National Defense Force (MDF) military, they just remained silent. That's why he had to leave. So that's why it is called a police coup. But it was a sort of general sort of agitation by
Yeah,
people, police, and also a silent military.
yeah.
That's the thing.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Rear Admiral Awal. You spoke very well about Maldives, and we know so many things from your mouth. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Welcome.
Sir A.G. Mahmood, where there are crises, there is A.G. Mahmood.
কি বললো?
And you were Minister for Food during Ershad time, Ershad administration. And so far we understand that there was a big crisis in food during that time. But you handled it very tactfully and diligently. What the music you have during that time? A.Z. Mahmood.
Thank you very much, Dr. Sinha. I had retired, rather voluntary retirement that was June 1978. First time I retired, or rather resigned, not resigned, but retired from the Air Force. But the President Ziaur Rahman insisted that I continue with the cabinet for sometimes more. So ultimately, it was June 1978 that I withdrew, and I did not join any party. And now I want to settle down as a civilian. Dr. Sinha, you may not believe, but the day I retired and went home, hired a flat in Nalmatia, I realized what is called happiness. I never knew that happiness can be such nature. I felt so happy that you cannot imagine. Anyway, there are many reasons for it. I would not like to go into those details of it. A happy A.G. Mahmood was slowly getting into some business, small business, to pull through. And the call came 2nd of March 1982, I think something, yes, 2nd, from General Shah. He told me that there is serious problem food sector. And people have started dying in Satkhira. So I asked him, what can I do about it? He said, you had saved Ziaur Rahman from this food crisis, and I was present in that meeting where you refused to obey the order of the president because you thought you trigger in a famine in the country, and so you did not obey him. So I said, now what does it mean? It means that now you please take over this food ministry and save us from this famine that is already set in. So I told him that it will be premature because 1 or 2 days doesn't mean that there's a famine in the country. But if you take over and you ask me to set the thing, you will not believe it, you will not understand. However, despite my advice, he took over, and so I was called in, and my family, my wife, my children, particularly my wife, they all were against me joining any government. Actually, their advice in the first place was to leave the Air Force also. However, I told General Shah that if it's food, then I may join you. The argument my wife gave me is very, very nice. She said that, do you know Hazrat Yusuf al-Islam was made food minister of Egypt by Allah. So if you have to do this job, and you may think there is a divine ordain, so go and do it. Once it's over, you can always come back. So I took her advice, and good advice. But the saddest part was that when I took over, I looked at the stocks and other things. I was simply surprised that how can a government, a civilian government of Justice Sattar, could let the food situation go so bad. How there is a 20 lakh tons capacity of food grain, where the actual food was only 2.5 lakh tons. In a capacity of food grain go down, you only have 2.5 lakh tons of food. This can never happen. This is sweeping stock. So the Oxfam knew this figure, and they had transmitted even. There's 1 million people who die in Bangladesh because of food crisis. Once I realized the fact, I was simply, I do not know how to express my feeling. I was cursing myself, or I took the challenge. Ultimately, I took the challenge, and in the name of Allah, I started working. However, to cut this thing short, I made a lot of changes. And I told General Shah that one thing that I'll do this, but there's one condition. No political interference in the ministry. If you agree to this, then I will continue, otherwise I'm not going to. But I knew that food ministry is the most corrupt, and everybody makes 2 pennies for the food through many means. See, so I carried out, and then for 2.5 lakh tons, I imported 36 lakh tons of food. Now here I should mention a few things. That I realized there are only $300 million at that time in the what is it called, the coffer, the foreign exchange money. So it was not going to be that we just go and buy food from the market. No, there's no money. So I thought that why not go to the people for whom I have suffered and I have sacrificed so much, that is Japan. So I took off in a briefcase in my hand, against the advice of the ambassador, that don't come here, they will not be able to help you. There's parliament going on, they will not be able to receive you. So I was so desperate situation that I had to start somewhere. The process of, no, there's another part before that. I also found out that all the godowns are locked. So I asked him why the godowns are locked. He said the minister had ordered the godown saying, Kadir, Guru ase ki something like that. There's some sayings. The actual stock is not, actual food is not there, but on the stock they were showing something. So this was the agriculture minister who had taken over the food minister also. At that time, I suspected there was some intrigue going on. So I found the previous minister was Abdul Monem Khan. Momen Khan, I think. Yes, Momen Khan. was the cabinet secretary. And at that time, if General Karim remembers, there was a power struggle between the bureaucrats and the politicians. Some of the other, Monim Khan was probably was leading the bureaucrat turned politicians. Anyway, now the question is that you cannot open the locks unless a magistrate goes and opens the lock, weighs every sack, and certifies how much exact food is available. Then you can open. So I said, you have food, and people will die, and just for bureaucratic reasons, you cannot use your food. How can it be possible? So I had to write down that open on my order, and whatever food is actually available will be considered as food or stock of food available. This was, and there could be 30,000 tons short, whatever it is, normally short. So, however, it was unlocked and food started flowing out. So the food officer asked me, why did you do this? I said, the hoarding takes place because of fear of shortage. So if I can overcome this, even temporarily, by 1 month, I get some time. So now you issue the food as if there's nothing has happened. Don't worry. Now I'll do something about it. Anyway, I went to Japan. You'll be surprised that the Japanese are so nice to me. The finance minister sat on the floor with me and really started discussing what can he do for us. So I said, he said simply that they import food from the United States. 4 million tons of wheat. But how can we give you the food? We have only strategic reserve. And that also, that kind of rice, sticky rice, you don't eat. So I said, if it will be better than eating grass, isn't it? So he said, of course. I said, well, sticky rice we'll eat, please. So he took out 100,000 tons of rice from the strategic reserve and defrosted it, milled it, packed it, absolutely free of cost. Not a penny by Bangladesh government, because there's no money to give. Can you imagine how these people, to be very humbly, I must say, because of that service that I give them, I saved 156 Japanese, and they knew how I suffered after that. They asked me, what can we do for you? I said, nothing. If you want to do anything, go and ask the president what you want to do for the country. But for me, nothing. Because I realized, what can they do in exchange with lives that I have lost, my men have died? I cannot exchange. So anyway, that is a part of just side talk. Then I came down to Thailand. They said, no food, all sold out. Then I went to Burma. And then I did a barter deal with them. Here again, I invested. See, the Burmese airlines used to come to East Pakistan then. Now they see when Bangladesh came to being, they stopped coming to Bangladesh. Now, I knew the importance of Burma. I'm quite sure both my friends, Admiral Awal and General Karim, understands what is actually my thought is. Burma is a very important country for us, although politically not so. But I understood it, why they were very important. However, I cultivated, and as an aviation minister, I had asked them to come and fly their aircraft here. They put me two conditions, and none of the airlines in the world I allowed these two conditions except Burma. They said they'll handle their own aircraft. I said, okay, what next? They said, we want to go from Dhaka to Kathmandu, Kathmandu to Hong Kong. There's a golden rule, golden route. I said, go, allowed. So they came and they remembered this gesture of mine. So when I went there, they said, okay, we'll barter raw jute or jute sacks. For there I got about 150,000 tons of rice. Then I went to United States. United States, they said that there's no money, all fund has been used up. But you know, the agricultural secretary, he met me. And I really told him that we have really dire condition. You can check it up from your other agencies. So he said that never before we had received, even in Pakistan, had received PL40, PL434, PL40, PL40, some. Anyway, one of the conditions. I don't remember. But anyway,
PL 480, sir. 480. PL 480.
480.
480.
You're right, 480. Title 3. So the
Correct, sir.
agriculture minister was so nice. He said that I can give you this, but the terms and conditions you have to understand and follow it. So I said, tell me what are the terms and conditions. He personally took time to explain the details of it. The agriculture, his name was John Block. He said, we'll give you the food. It will be converted into local currency. The money will be put in the bank. And from that bank, directly, it will be used for food for work and some concrete culverts and some repair work, etc. So I realized, I was also relief minister, at that time. I realized the food for work every season during rain time, it washes away. So I said it's a golden opportunity. So we monetize the food. We designed through the food ministry called, relief ministry called PIOs, Project Implementation Officers, small culverts, roads and culverts, and all over the country, many small little businessmen rose, contractors, small contractors, big contractors did not take this job. You see, local contractors. So it was a very good thing that I did. Anyway, 100,000 tons of we came. Then I went again to Burma. This time they gave me 600,000 tons of rice on deferred payment. So 36 lakh tons of rice, food was imported. And by the time when I said the crisis is over, the Oxfam was still telling that minister says so, but according to us, still 1 million people may die. Alhamdulillah, not a single one died. And in January 1985, I resigned, leaving 13.5 million tons of food grade it will go down. No, 30 days. 1.3 lakh tons, 3 million, 13 lakh tons. That is 30 lakh tons. So I was very satisfied and very happy that the thing is over. Despite the fact I was asked to do many other things, I only declined. I said, thank you very much. I would like to now go back into retirement again.
And you had narrated the whole thing in such a manner. I think the viewers are enjoying very much. Now I turn to Lieutenant.
I want to simply say one word. I'm quite
Yeah.
sure my friends are saying our nation is not a thankful nation.
Mm.
I think we lack it. This is one of the major problems. We lack gratitude and lack thankfulness. I hope you don't mind it. You don't mind. My frank. You see? Because
Mr.
nobody. Yes, okay. Yes,
We know
I'm
very
over.
well that
I'm
you
through.
are also a political
You are also
scientist,
a
and
scientist,
you
and
wrote
you wrote
number of books which
number
have
books
been
which have
already
been
acknowledged
already
Let us
by
go.
acknowledged
the
by the
university
university
organization, and we
organization,
are very proud of it.
and we are proud of it.
Basically,
Basically,
you are a man of
you are
Absolutely
man
right.
of
man of education,
man of
man of environment, and so
man
many things.
Yes,
so many
Where
absolutely.
things.
in
Where
full progress Malay
full
University
progress
and
by
in China,
university and China.
and hardly there can be very
Hardly there can be
very moment, even maybe in the
very moment,
past,
even maybe in the
we can
past,
not in this area.
in this area.
Taking all these things together,
Taken all these things together,
as educationist, academic
educationist,
speaker,
academic
and a already
they already
morality
already
speaker,
speakers.
how do you feel
How do you feel
about both?
about food?
I think your voice was getting interrupted. You were asking me about the publication of my books. Am I correct?
Your publications of the book?
The
Yeah.
publications of the book, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, Dr. Sinha. You are a learned person. You are a distinguished scholar of this country. It so happened after my retirement, I retired in the month of March 2009 after the BDR carnage. I was enjoying my retirement life. My son was doing his masters in a University Kebangsaan, National University of Malaysia, and he asked me that, Abu, why don't you give your CV to the University of Malaya, the another university which is the top in number one university in Malaysia, and try your luck. And why don't you come and teach? What the hell? I said, what the hell? I mean, how they going to take me? But still, he sent me. So I sent my CV, and he submitted that to the VC's office. After about, I think, 2 months or so, I was selected as a senior research fellow in the category of professor grade C, and I joined University of Malaya. Next day, the vice chancellor called me just for say hello, and he knew all the backgrounds in Bangladesh. Bole, oh, General, you failed to become the army chief. I'm aware of that. I did my staff college there in 1985, and his brother was the defense secretary at that time, so he had seen my staff college record and all those things. He got some hints, and then. What the hell you did you select me? What well I'm of no good to your university. Well, I know what you can do and what you cannot do. So in that university, the requirement was every year you have to publish two ISI index journal, these top class journals of the world. In Bangladesh, we have only one journal in Dhaka University and one in one in another in ICDRB. You have to publish two of them every year, which is extremely difficult in social science. It is possible in engineering, in physical science, in medical science, and so on and so forth, in physics, chemistry, and mathematics, and others. But anyway, I had to do it because that was the first KPI given to me. And in the first year, I could make it one, and I was given a reprimand for that. You have to make two. The second year, I did it three, and the third year, I did it five. And when I came back after about 8 years, it was about 16 or 18 of them, which was much beyond their expectations because I'm supposed to do two per year. If you make it an average, I had done more than three or about four per year. Fine, the vice chancellor was very happy and all those things. And I decided to come back because I had to get my daughter married off and I have to construct my house. The vice chancellor said, no, I'll not let you go, General. Well, no, I have to start go back. Well, why? I have to get my daughter married off. That's fine, but then, we need you. No, so I have to go back. But he just told me, I'm telling you verbatim, he just told me, look, This is one of the best universities in Asia. This year, this university is 65th best university in the world in QS ranking. In Asia, it is the 11th best university in Asia. And he said the contribution that you have made in the social science faculty, he just said this in this language. Professor Gauss Jasman, he used to like me a lot. I think so. Still like we are still in contact. He said the contribution that you have made to my university will remain unchallenged in next 20 to 30 years. I was very proud of that. Fine, good enough. And then I kept on publishing. Now today I have got about 24 of them published. I do not see many professors in our universities are aspiring to publish in such journals, but there are few, no problem. In social science, in science, engineering, and medicine, there are many. Economics, there are many. In physics, there are many. In chemistry, there are many. In BUET, there are many. That's fine. And they have a lot of citations and a lot of high age index. So today I have got 24 of them. I have published, after I came back to Bangladesh, I published 5 books on geopolitics, mostly on geopolitics. First one was the Indo-Pacific strategy in 21st century geopolitics. Second was on South China Sea, geopolitics of South China Sea in the 21st century. Third one was the relation between India and China, again on geopolitics mostly, correct. Geoeconomics also comes in that. And the Rohingya one was fourth one or third one. The title of the book is Geopolitics and Genocide of the Rohingya Crisis. I've discussed the genocide part of it, genesis of the problem, how did it develop, what is the state policy of the Myanmar military, and why they want to drive out the Muslims. It's basically a fight between the Muslims and the Buddhists. This is a very sad story. Religion getting entangled with geopolitics is very dangerous, very dangerous. We should not play religion with geopolitics. No, not at all. It can be very dangerous. And they committed genocide by any means. I have proved that in my book. And then I will discuss about the geopolitics part of it in that book. And then in the relation between India and China, I basically discussed the involvement of America in the defense cooperation with India. I've discussed the Himalayan boundary, McMahon Line, Kashmir, Ladakh, and that skirmishes that often goes on. And Chinese army is deployed. The Western theater of Chinese military is very strong there. India is probably not a very strong match to them, but America is trying to beat them up, giving them a lot of training, equipment. There are a lot of agreement. They have even nuclear cooperation agreement with America. They have given a submarine technology. Japan is providing them submarine technology. I think Admiral Awal can shed light on that. And they also have this economic cooperation with Japan. And Japan has given a concept called security diamond, which it wants to, it's basically to contain China. So Japan, India, America, and Australia has now made this sort of Quad formation. I published a paper on Quad as well separately. And my last book was on the Bay of Bengal and the Quad. I've discussed Quad in a sort of bypass way, in the sideline, but main focus is on Bay of Bengal. What is the potential of Bay of Bengal? What are the problems of Bay of Bengal? And how it is linked up with the South China Sea? And what is the importance of Bay of Bengal? Sorry, the Malacca Strait and the Andaman Nicobar Island. India is going for massive infrastructure development. Japan is providing money there. And there's a possibility they can someday employ the nuclear weapons there. And there is a, 4 nations yearly Malabar exercise in the Bay of Bengal. So a lot of military activities are coming up. Japan has got involved in that. Australia is getting involved. And this year or last year, Admiral Awal can bear me out on that. They have already conducted the joint military drill of these 4 powers. And these are all aimed basically to contain China in a way, because China is trying to come into the Indian Ocean, in the Bay of Bengal, through Myanmar. They are trying to come through Bangladesh as well. They wanted a deep sea port in Bangladesh. In that, China failed diplomatically, and they're very annoyed about that. Ultimately, it has gone to Japan, Matarbari deep sea port. I was in China sometime back when President Xi visited Bangladesh right before that. So Chinese Foreign Ministry, some senior official was asking me, General, can you arrange the deep sea port in your country? We are very much interested in that. I said, I'm retired now. How can I do it? Do it? But we'll make with the army chief and you arrange it. But no, this is not army's decision. It is a political decision. I can't do anything about that. So they were very serious about that. And they were very offended that they did not get it. But India intervened in the meantime and got it, foiled. America was also there, I believe. So there's extensive cooperation with America and India on defense cooperation, technological cooperation, space cooperation. Uh, there are many, many avenues that are coming up. Even Quad is taking infrastructure development. BRI, Chinese BRI has come in. They're spending about $2 trillion all over the world. And Quad has planned for 600 billion US dollars. That money is still not raised. China is going to be strong. The competition is there between China and America. And that has a fallout effect, ripple effect on the Bay of Bengal, on Bangladesh, on Sri Lanka, on Nepal, on India, on Pakistan. And in Pakistan, they have got the Karakum highway. So China can basically, this is a war on energy. If you don't have energy, the country cannot sustain. So for development, you need energy. China is developing very fast, so they need a lot of energy. Japan needs a lot of energy. South Korea needs a lot of energy. India needs a lot of energy. So the sea lines of communication must be kept free, unfettered, and the choke points like the Malacca Strait. There's another choke point south of that. These have to be kept free. And the geopolitics is very much on. So I have published 4 books. And next book I have started writing. I have to submit. I have already done the agreement with the publisher. Is on Taiwan. And before that, I'm planning to publish another paper on Taiwan. And I have already the COP, COP, what is it called? COP 28, the climate summit in Dubai. On occasion of that, UN is publishing a book. They've already published the book. So one of my chapters has been accepted there. And the title of my paper is Climate Injustice for Bangladesh, a question worth asking. Is already published. I've already got the notification. I'm waiting for my copy. And if I get my copy, I'll share with all of you. I don't mind. Yeah, this is the first time I ventured into climate crisis in Bangladesh, or climate change problem. It's interesting, but it's not my cup of tea, not at all. But I'm writing more on journals, and I'm also doing my books. That's it. That's fine. Alhamdulillah. I'm grateful to Allah. I'm spending my good time. I joined a private university here. They fired me one fine morning after about 4 years. I don't mind. I'm doing my private work, do publications. And this is a private university. I've served in one of the top universities of the world. They welcome me so much. But this private university, they fired me after 4 years without any provocation. I did not know why they did it. Good enough. Alhamdulillah. That's it. I'm happy. I'll keep on writing as long as I'm fine. And I have a next vision of writing a book on our Prophet. If Allah gives me the opportunity, next book should be I want to write on the diplomacy and the warfare concepts of our Prophet. I hope I get this fortitude ordained by Allah. If Allah grants me. Thank you very
Thank you,
much.
Lieutenant General Aminul Kuri. We are very happy to learn about what you have done things. We pray to Allah for you. Definitely. Well, our final is retired to MA Awal. You listen to the two speakers who spoke very friendly and with necessary input. As last speaker, what is your overall understanding of station? You have got only 7 minutes.
There's a double sound. You say the overall impression on Bangladesh, is it?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Now, it's the to speak on my own country. It's a for me it's a pleasure because the birth of the country has touched my life, my family, everything. My father is a Shaheed in the War of Liberation. My uncle, he was in the Pakistan Army, senior most Army Medical Corps officer. He was killed by the Pak Army. Our house was burnt, and with all my savings, 6 years of diplomatic service abroad, and my house rent and my retirement money, with all this, I have not able to finish the house that the Pakistan is burned. We have made a house, but it is incomplete, and I do not know whether I can complete it. But still, I have that burned the tin shed that was there. It is still there. A portion of it, it bears the scar of the War of Liberation. Anyway, about my country, I am very hopeful. It has come through a bloodbath. What we should say is the founding spirit of this country, the involvement of the people in general, that has come from the soil. Say for the armed forces, it was raised through the members of the armed forces who joined the liberation war. The people in general, during the liberation war, we have to move from place to place in the remote areas, in the chore areas, in inaccessible areas. So in those days, those areas didn't have any economy. They had a sort of barter system. They used to take their say chicken to the market, and with that barter, they used to get rice or something like that. And I remember how they left their house and sheltered us. So that's the basis of our country, the birth of our country. So yes, we had a lot of setbacks, a lot of turmoils, but we must take the pride that the best thing that has happened, that we have come through a war of liberation, the only country in the South Asia, and a very few country, rather distinguished countries around the world, which has a recorded, political construct, economic construct, social, and all the facets of becoming a nation. When I was in Sri Lanka, the defense advisor in 2006-7, at the height of the civil war, the Tamils, they feel both the Sinhalese and Tamils, they are very good friend of ours. They are very sympathetic and respectful to Bangladesh. The Tamils particularly, they say that at the time was Commodore. The Commodore, your story and our story is the same thing. We all started with the deprivation of our language right, and then this happened. So why are you supporting this butcher army? You are training them, you are supporting them politically. So I have to tell them, yes, we have all the sympathy for you, but tell me, except for suicide bombing and killing people and all this thing, where is your the political, economic, and other construct of a nationhood through which you identify yourself? Look at our history. We had everything, the cultural affairs, the social aspect, the economic aspect, the political aspect, and along with that, the liberation forces joining. It's not only
Okay.
that you keep people
Thank you
and
very much, Mr. Teacher MA Awal.
Right. Last, in conclusion, I was to say that we must rely on our people. That's the hope, because if we rely on the elites, our elites, they didn't participate in the war of liberation. Not many, many of them. And we have to rely on our people and look to the future. Thank you.
Viewers, we are about to end this very talk show because we are almost past 2 hours. And this is one of the largest talk shows. And we learned so many things from the distinguished from A. Mahmood. He explained so many things and his experience and the difference. And it message to all the leaders, ministers, and the people also. At the same time, retired military, he explained the thing, what happened during the time on 11. And this is the first time he opened the with carrying message to all. And it may be a very dependent source for the research, for the leader, and those people who want to know. At the same time, Mr. MA from the Navy. He spoke very, very profound, giving experience as a high commissioner. And he also explained how he faced the crisis and his side. And above all, Mr. Mahmood. And I must say, he's a trouble. And Lieutenant General military. I must say, he's a person of learning. He's a person who understands. He's a businessman. He's amicable, eloquent, naively personal. And Mr. though he's next time and but the question is that he's also a person and he's a battery. And above all, everybody is a battery. So this talk show, episode 12, will be a milestone in the history on ABC television. And thank you very much all. May Allah bless you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you for giving us
Thank you very much.